Most of us, when we are in situations where we need to communicate, we see them as threatening. We see them as opportunities for failure. And I'd like to suggest that we need to change that. We need to approach communication in an open way. See it as an opportunity to share our ideas, our beliefs, our innovations. And when we take a perspective of openness, all of a sudden something that we dread becomes something that we embrace. So the first step to effective communication is to approach it in an open way. But that's not enough. We need to think about the audience that we're speaking to. And to me, the way to approach it is the opposite the way most people do. Most of us think about, here's what I want to say, or here's what I need to say. I would suggest that's exactly wrong. You need to think about, what does my audience need to hear? And it sounds just like verbal jujitsu, where I'm moving words around, but in fact, it's a fundamental difference. If I ask myself, what does my audience need? It puts me in service of my audience. It's about their needs. And in order to understand those needs, I have to do some reconnaissance. I have to ask myself who they are. The three things I think we need to ask about our audience are, what is their knowledge? What is it that they know? And if they don't know enough, what can we do to scaffold that information so that they have the tools they need? In addition to knowledge, we need to be thinking about their expectations. And by expectations, I mean, what is it that they expect of me? Most audiences have heard the types of presentations you're giving. Maybe it's a pitch. Maybe it's some kind of advertisement or marketing. Maybe it's a TED Talk. Your audience has heard those kind of presentations before. So what do they expect of you? And then you can choose to conform to those expectations or not. You know, I have 2 young kids, and I learned that sometimes violating their expectations actually is the most effective thing I can do for the communication we need. My boys sometimes make me upset. And when they make me upset, I used to raise my voice to no avail. Nothing happened. I was ignored. And that's tough for a communication guy. So what I started to do when I'm really upset with my boys, I lower my voice. And they stop dead in their tracks. Violating expectations sometimes can actually help you as a communicator. The final thing we need to think about are, what are their attitudes? The way you approach your communication is influenced by what your audience thinks about what you're talking on. Are they in favor of it? Are they against it? Are they hesitant, agnostic? Those are the things you need to be asking yourself when you communicate. So we need to appreciate our audience. So knowing your audience really matters. But beyond knowing your audience, you have to appreciate the context in which you speak. Whenever you speak, you are in a particular context. And to me, context comes in a bunch of different varieties. The first thing about context we need to think about is the time. What time of day are you communicating? If you're talking early in the morning, you might have to have a little more energy to keep people moving. Same thing after lunch when people are having that food coma experience. Context also involves emotion. Most of us, when we communicate, we think about information. What's in my head, in my heart, I need to communicate to you. But we also communicate a feeling. Maybe we're trying to get people excited and motivate them. Maybe we're trying to scare them, create that burning platform that motivates them to change. Sometimes we're just trying to instill confidence. You should believe in what I'm saying. But we need to think about the emotion as well as the information. The final bit of context has to do with where you're physically speaking. Location matters. Location matters. Think about the way the room is set up. Think about the environment. Is it live? Is it virtual? Those change the way that you communicate. We need to think about location. So our approach is important. Our audience is important. The context in which we find ourselves is important. And so too is the way we structure our messages. it is much easier for humans to understand information when it is structured.